settled on your personal philosophy as far as communicating to your team through the media?
Yeah, I don't, I guess. And if it is taken in a certain, I don't think about doing it that way. So if it's taken certain ways, I try to just be honest most all the time. And if it's taken a certain way by the players, and it's taken a certain way. But I don't have any, maybe I'm not sharp enough to think ahead and be that strategic.
If you look at the statistics, is it fair to say that you're missing Drew more offensively than defensively?
I mean, it depends. The problem with statistics, Dennis, is there's so many different ones that you can look at. So we can look at it, and we looked at some stuff yesterday, and offensively we're ahead of where we've been over the last few seasons at even strength. I don't know if it's felt that way to anybody else. Hasn't really felt that way to me, to be honest. But it's over a large sample. It's telling us that we're more dangerous offensively. So that wouldn't line up with missing Drew that way. But I can tell you, we missed Drew offensively, defensively, in the dressing room, all over the place. We're just a better team everywhere with him. So, there's just so many measures that you can look at, and sometimes you can confuse yourself by looking at too many different ones. So, yeah, we just try to keep a pulse on it, but not put too much weight on too many different things.
When it comes to the multiple kinds of statistics that are out there, one of them is results. So is there a threshold where, let's say you're playing well, but the statistics say you're winning, but the statistics say you're not playing well, or the statistics say you're not playing, or you are playing well, but you're not winning? Is there a line, is there a cutoff where you have to quiet the noise of the statistics and just pay attention to the results?
Yeah, well, so statistics, let's start with the easiest to measure, goals for and against. That measures your wins and losses on a game basis. So that's probably the most important statistic to start with, right? That's just kind of what you said that talks about the results. Then you can look at shots on goal. Or sort of maybe you would look at, no, you'd look at shots on goal, scoring. You can just keep going down the line. And like the Buffalo game, we go through our information and we feel like we maybe outchanced them 20-7, 20-8. That's a good hockey game for us. But we had 0 goals and we lost the game. So that's not a good result for us. Now, if we looked and we thought the chances were 10-10, we'd probably say, we lost. We didn't play well. But Buffalo was a good offensive team, so we felt we did a really good job in limiting them, and we had plenty of chances. So I'm going in a roundabout way to answer your question, but yes, we try not to get too far into the weeds. You can. There's times you take a project and you go down the path, but we try to keep it pretty simple from a scoring chances perspective.
The power play. Last game, you said you felt like they had the puck around the net, created some chances, but couldn't bury it. Is that the game where if you get one, not only does it change the game, but maybe it starts to kind of open the floodgates for the power play?
Yeah, and there'll be one of those games coming up. I don't know which one it is. I hope it's tomorrow. There will be a game like that because they've had, their on our chances. Our shooting percentage on our chances this year is extremely low, unsustainable. So sometimes it's unsustainably high, sometimes it's unsustainably low. They're going to get some to catch up. We always like to try to regress to the mean at some point. Sometimes it takes more time than others, but they will. That's just going to happen. I hope it's tomorrow.
Seattle, new coach. From what you've seen, if you've watched some Seattle stuff, how they approach the game, is it different than it's been the last couple of years?
I don't think so. I think it's pretty similar. I mean, the personnel is pretty similar, has been over the last couple of years. They've added Stevenson is a dynamic offensive player. Montour is a dynamic offensive player on the back end. So they've added a bit of that, but they play strong defense. They check you, they forecheck you. The D are big, so it's pretty similar to what they had. Their style of play, from what I can see. Yeah.
I don't know if anyone asked about Q when I was out, but just chatting with him about things that he's trying to control outside of the rink, showing up a little bit earlier, just kind of maybe adjusting his routine a bit. Anything you noticed as a coach that he's adjusted that's lent itself well in other ways on the ice?
No, I would just say this in general, that from my time that I've been here till now, he's, and I don't know, you'd have to ask him where he saw it. I think Kopi's probably a pretty good example. He's turned himself into more of a pro. I guess Trevor Lewis is a really good example. We've talked about him before. He's here, him and Kopi are here early, and it takes a long time to get ready to play, and they're what you call a pro, and it seems like, what's that, kind of a nebulous term, but he's learning the dedication, the focus, just enjoying being at the rink, even if there's nothing to do. There's trainers to talk to, there's coaches to bump into once in a while. Whether he enjoys that or not, you'd have to ask him. But it's just the process, and it's a bigger investment that I've seen from him off the ice, and he's just growing into that. He's got some pretty good examples in front of him.
As a coach, you can prepare your team, you can give them scouting reports on opponents, but at some point, the players on the ice, in a shift, in a moment, have to execute. In a game like the Buffalo game where shots just weren't going in, but chances were being gotten, is there anything that you can do in practices to assist players in actually, in improving their execution?
Well, and I think we talked just about something like this similar prior to that last game, and we did created some more offense. Or somebody talked about the goalie. I don't know when the conversation was. I have a lot of conversations with you guys. Sometimes you can tailor the practice a little bit more towards the goaltender and make it harder for the forwards, and maybe the goaltender makes more saves and feels better about himself. And then sometimes you can tailor the practice to a little bit more offense and give the forwards a little bit more advantages so they can make more plays and maybe feel good about themselves. So that's maybe one thing you can do as a coach in practice from that perspective, is to give them more touches around the net, allow them to score goals maybe easier in practice. But I think we've tried to do that this kind of, since we've been back, is try to create a little bit more time with the puck in the offensive situations. You do that, and then you come up with a 0. So you go, oh man, that wasn't a good idea. But you just have to do what you believe is right. We had chances. The puck will go. We'll keep getting around the net, keep giving our guys chances to score in practice.
Your thoughts on Eric Portillo? You didn't really know him too well. Now you've had a couple practices.
Yeah.
Look, he made some good saves today.
Yeah, you saw that at the end there?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. What a sequence that was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see him much. I just don't pay attention to the goalies much. But that sequence was, in fact, I first out yelled, "Great job, Ritter," without even knowing that was Ports. And then I recognized it. That was, that was as good of a 10 or 12 second sequence as you've seen a goalie in practice. So that was impressive. That caught the guy's attention for sure.
Who's taller, Portillo or Hellenius?
It's got to be Hellenius, I think, yeah. It's close, but it's got to be Hellenius. I don't stand next to Portillo. I stand next to Hellenius. And wow. Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
Any update on Dorsey?
No update.